Okay, the first thing we're going to do is dump some of this out because we want to get this active. This has been in the fridge for a couple weeks, and so I'm just going to dump some of it out.
You see?
Okay.
Does that look good
Now,
for consistency?
yeah, that looks good.
Okay, that looks good.
Alright, I've dumped out about half of it. Now I'm going to take about 2 half cups of flour. I like to use the half cup because it fits in the lid here. And I'm going to put about a cup total in this jar. Alright, put about a cup there. And now I'm going to put some water in it. I like to do it like that. What we're looking for is kind of a pancake consistency. So, this is pretty good. This is actually pretty good. It just has to be wet enough
Mom, look at this.
so that the air bubbles get trapped in there and the yeast can move around. Eat some of that delicious flour. So we're going to let this hang out on our counter for about 4 hours, and then we'll come back and it should be bubbly and nice and active for us to use in our pre-ferment. Okay, so it's been about 6 or 7 hours, quite a bit, and our starter has grown quite a bit since we fed it. It's bubbling a lot up top. It's almost coming out the jar. What we're going to do is make our pre-ferment. I like to make a pre-ferment with bread because it gives a little more sourdough taste, and it helps a lot with rising when doing sourdough for me. So what I do is I take some sourdough starter, water, and flour, and add it to a bucket, and then we're going to let it sit overnight. We're going to do 100 grams of starter, 200 grams of water, and 200 grams of flour. Alright, I've added the 100 grams of starter right there. First, make sure to calibrate it for the bowl so it sets to 0, and then start from there. Now I'm going to put the flour on. So again, I'm going to set this to 0. Alright, perfect. I'm going to add 200 grams of flour. Okay, we have just 1 gram shy or over of flour for 200. So now we're going to reset the scale again back to 0 and add 200 grams of water. Okay, now that we have our 200 grams or 199 of water, we've got an equal mixture of flour to water, and the sourdough starter's about the same ratio. So we're going to just mix this up like this, and then make sure the key point with this is all the flour is hydrated. So you're not going to get it too mixed up. You don't really need it that way. You just want to make sure that all the flour in here is wet. Alright, our mixture is now fully saturated. So we can take our lid, stick it on there firmly, and then let this hang out on our counter for overnight, about 12 hours. And we'll see that in the morning it's gonna about double in size, and then we can start with our primary fermentation. I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. All right, our pre-ferment has been fermenting overnight. It's looking a lot bigger. Check this out. So remember, that's 200 grams flour, 200 grams water. I'm heating up the water now a little bit. Okay, that's pretty good. You want your water to be about 90 degrees or so, because we're going to make our main dough. It's a 72% hydration dough, so the total amount of flour is 1,000 grams, and the total amount of water is 720. We took 200 off from the flour and water, so we're going to do 800 flour, 800 grams, and then we're going to do 520 grams of water. Okay, so now I've got the water and flour mixture in here, and I like to separate my salt measurement out. So we're going to do 21 grams of salt. I'm using kosher salt. Oh, that's about 21. So this is our salt. So sprinkle it on like this, and then I'm gonna mix this up, making sure just need at least all the flour to be saturated. So we don't want any dry spots when you mix it up. And take my dough hook and start mixing. All right, we've got our new dough. It looks like this. It's somewhat sticky, not too sticky, fairly elasticy. All the flour is saturated. So we're gonna let this kind of hang out on the counter for about 30 minutes or so, and then we're gonna do our fold, the first pinch and fold on it. So all the salt, flour, water is mixed up by now. We're just gonna develop that gluten. All right, see you in a little bit. Okay, it's been a little over a half hour. So I'm gonna take it, we're gonna do our first fold. All you can do is take it like this, like that, and then wet your hands so that nothing sticks. Most of the water off. And you just wanna grab it like this, pinch, and fold. Just like that. So we're going to do this a couple more times, and then let it sit. And then we'll do this pinch and fold about 2 more times. Alright, now we're going to do our last fold. I did not show the last fold I did before this, but you guys can get the idea. So I'm going to take it like this, pinch, fold it over. Got the sticky hands here. Drain that out. Take this. Hold it like this. Yep, pinch and fold. Your dough should start a little harder to pinch and fold. It's been about probably an hour and a half since I did the first fold, and I probably don't want to do any after this. Take it. Look at that. Pinch and fold. Maybe one more. Make sure you get all the dough off. You don't really want more water, so you take most of it off your hands. Like this. Like that. So kind of pinching it, stretching and folding like that. And this is a good dough now. So we're gonna just let it sit, rest. It's already got some bubbles going in it, so sourdough's already working on it. We're gonna cover this and let this hang out all day today. And then we'll come back and we'll see how she looks. She should be about double in size. So this will be the last time she's tiny like this. Alright, see you guys in a little bit. Just a quick update. It's been just a little over an hour, and it's already looking really good. See all those bubbles? See it increasing in height. Definitely getting bigger in volume. So hopefully your dough also looks like this. This has been sitting on the counter not too warm, and probably it's about 72 degrees in here. So this is doing just fine for the dough. It's loving it. All right, and then of course we're going to leave this out for many more hours after work. Probably get to it and make a loaf of bread. All right, see ya. All right, so just an update. It is it's about 5 or 6 hours since we first made our dough. It is, I would say, fully approved. Look at all that. So hope your dough also looks like this after this long. If not, you have to make some adjustments. But I wanted to point out this dough's got a lot of air bubbles, very active fermentation going here. So yeah, looks good. All right, she's looking really good. Filled up the bucket. Smells like sourdough. She's nice and airy, so she's ready to proof. And I'm gonna let it proof for a couple hours in this bowl here. So I'm gonna flour this and then take part of this, probably maybe about half. It will deflate when you take it out, but don't worry about that. Take about half and then stick it in this floured bowl, and then I'm gonna cover it with a rag. Since it'll be a couple hours, it's going to the gym, I'll probably wet this rag, and that'll help the top a little bit not dry out. So I'll show you that here. Oh, I forgot to mention, don't be afraid to sprinkle it with flour. You'll need that so it doesn't get sticky. Not just on the surface you're making your preform out of, but also in the bucket. So go ahead, use as much flour as you think you need. All right, here's the dough. Deflated a bit. Don't worry about my little air bubble. That's okay. I won't tell anyone. So, dough I have left here. I don't really want it rising anymore or fermenting. So I'm gonna take my lid and pop this in the fridge, and then use it when I need it again. Maybe for some little rolls or whatever. And then I wet my towel a little bit. You just want it a little damp, not soaking wet. So I'm going to sit that on the bowl and then let it hang out for a couple hours. And I'll see you guys in a little bit. Also, the way I'm going to do it is I've got my little ceramic oven here in an oven. So when I heat the oven up, it'll heat up with that. And I'm going to bake it that way. I'll show you guys that here in a little bit. All right, see ya. Okay, it's been a couple hours and it does proof quite a bit. The oven has been preheating for at least 20 minutes, preferably like 45 minutes, and 475. And there's a Dutch oven in there that was put in there while it was cold. So I'm going to take this and then put it in the Dutch oven. Be careful, it's very hot. And then we're going to cut the loaf and then put the lid on. And then go from there. Okay, we put the bread in. I cut it. I'm terrible at that. So try and do better than I did. But we're now going to put the lid on. And then stick this in the oven for 30 minutes with the lid on. And then take it off. And then cook it for about 20 minutes, but depending on your color preference, you may take it out earlier. I wanted to mention while the bread was cooking that the pinch and fold technique was taken from, and the recipe, pretty much in the bucket, pretty much the whole thing was taken from Ken Forkish. He's got some really good YouTube videos, and the recipe was the Saturday white bread in this book, but this book also talks about the techniques more in depth and kind of the whole system. So check it out, or check out his videos, Ken Forkish. And then just wanted to mention some things I probably would have done different, is proof the dough a little bit less for the first proofing and the second proofing. That dough was plenty proofed, you guys saw in the bucket, but just timing wise, had to go work out, so wanted to bake it afterwards, so that's why I kind of ended up that way, but I think it's still going to turn out great. And we'll check it out here in a bit. Alright, it's been 30 minutes and I took her out of the oven so I can take the lid off. Now I'm going to put the bread in for about 20 more minutes. And of course, do it to your color preference. I'm going to go a little bit on the darker side. Alright, here it is. Took it out a little early, but this is the bread. And if we go like this, should be able to tilt it out a little bit, like that. There we go. So, should just kind of fall out there. But you can let it hang out like this. I like to put it on a wire rack to cool for a little bit. You definitely want it to cool probably at least 10 minutes maybe before you cut into it. You don't want a lot of steam to release. But that's your bread. That's sourdough. Hope you enjoy.